Chat, here we go. We have Atomic again. This time against Chronic. Chronic played in a recent tournament. He played in my recent tournament and Johnny's recent tournament. If you haven't finished watching either Fear Fiesta or the Chalk Cast Duels tournament, then admittedly, you might want to tab out and go watch those videos. Everything is available on YouTube, but I am going to talk about the results of them because Chronic had a great tournament. Chronic had a great tournament, not only in Fear Fiesta, but also in the Chalk Cast Duels, because he played in the Fear Fiesta. I seeded him in a way that he had to play Rawas very quickly. After his first win against, I believe it was Toxic, he had to play Rawas, and he played Rawas close, but Rawas did beat him. And then he went on to play days later, because just after that, the Chalk Cast Duels was played. And Chronic made it all the way to the grand final against Moxie. A performance that I think earned him his spot as the main 1v1er for Gen G and Gamers 8. I say main, but I actually think they only played with Chronic. I don't even think Jack played any 1v1s. I am sure they would have used him had Chronic's 1v1s maybe not been going the way they wanted to. But I think Chronic played it solidly enough that he stayed as their 1v1er throughout the event. Now, on the other side of the field is Atomic, which you've been watching the videos recently. You know, has been playing very well. Atomic just went up against Lion Blaze, who I believe is rated 3 or 4 in the world, has been playing once recently, and is certainly a talented ones player, but was bested by G2's Star. Now, can G2 Star take down what is arguably the #1 player in North America right now? Is that safe to say, or do we still, you know, Daniel has, of course, held #1 in North America for a good long while, or Jack. You could argue Jack has it. But with Chronic's recent performance, in which both those players were in a tournament with him as well, it's hard to say that they outperformed Chronic. So Chronic just might be up there at #1. Demoing Atomic now. I'll give you guys a prediction. I'll put it up for like 1 minute or 2 minutes. And you're just going to have to deal with the fact that the game has started and that Chronic is up 2-0. So you'll have to bet at your own risk. 2-minute prediction for you guys. Chronic up 3-0. Something tells me that Chronic is going to have a lot of votes here. This time, pulling off of his air dribble. Threatening, like I talked about before, all the way down on the dribble. Forcing Atomic to make that early play on the ball. Beast Mode #1 NA, not going to lie. We'd have to see Beast Mode against a few more people. Chronic is not going easy on Atomic as he booms another shot for a 4-0 lead. Who do you think is better, Rawas or Moxie? You know, at the top, it's a really tough comparison. I talked about it with Rawas and Zen, you know, around when everyone was either deciding between Rawas or Zen. Rawas very clearly has a good matchup against Zen, and that's what gave him the undisputed 1. I think Moxie historically actually has a advantage over Rawas, and it makes it a bit of, you know, a triangle world out there, because certainly Zen has an advantage over Moxie, etc., etc. But I do think that I would give the edge to Rawas. Right now, it is very clear who has the edge in this game. Chronic up 5-0. Atomic desperate to get something on the board. And Chronic doesn't let him. He just forced Atomic to own goal. It's getting bad. With 2 minutes left in this game, Chronic 0 boost. Just enough of a shot to get on the wrong side of Atomic. Thank you, Eurotrash, for the tier 1. Did I thank you before? Yeah, 12 months. I think you subbed right as the match started. And then Tone, thank you for the 2 months of Prime. Prime until full time. Appreciate that. Chronic to the skies. Nothing can seemingly go wrong for him. Atomic able to finally get one on the board. Technically still has time with 1:45 to make up 5, but it does feel like this start to the match is one Atomic's not likely to recover from, at least not in this game, but he needs to play with a full series mindset. Something that the guys in Gamers 8 were not able to do. If you're Atomic in Gamers 8, Chronic goes up 6-0 on you. Kind of just have to chalk it up and think about the next 3v3. But here, you need to figure out Chronic before too long. Otherwise, it's going to be an agonizing 3 games. Chronic right now is in freestyle mode. These resets are more for style than they are for function, as it likely will result in an open possession for Atomic, one that he does convert. As he passes to himself off the back wall. So it's 2 straight for Atomic. Atomic high air dribble to keep away from Chronic. Chronic, for whatever reason, wanted to give the ball back to Atomic, trying to test out his defense. Slams it off the back wall so Atomic can try again. What a nice flip underneath the ball to get this reset. Oh my goodness, such a beautiful shot. Atomic right now, is there anybody better on the first touch on these dribbles? That ball is headed down towards the ground and needs such a finessed touch in order to pop it up and turn it into an air dribble. That's exactly what Atomic gets. Wave dash kickoff for him, and it might actually be reasonable for him if he converts on this wall to air dribble. He's up against the king of wall to air dribbles. He goes for the pogo. A bit too close to the net, probably. Often those are scored by getting a surprising amount of height and at an angle that you can only really take advantage of when you're kind of near the outside of the box. When you shoot it that close, Chronic's still able to cut it off. Now Chronic just putting in a victory lap for game 1. But a good sign for Atomic going forward. This doesn't really count as one of the goals, but it doesn't hurt when looking back at the match to make it seem like it was a bit closer. It is 4 straight, but I would argue more like 3 straight for Atomic. The problem for him is he only started getting them when Chronic seemed to kind of turn the try-hard brain off and start looking for as many resets as possible. Will that be back at the start of an even game? We'll have to see. Game number 2. Chronic sticking in the Octane. I think we saw him play Fennec towards the end of Chalkcast Duels. I was actually out and about during most of that, so I didn't get to watch a ton of it. But I want to say I tuned in at least briefly for the finals. I want to say Chronic was in a Fennec, but you guys know how I am with remembering cars. Don't want to get you guys all up in a fuss again. Atomic, 30 seconds into this one, has done enough to not get scored on. Chronic passing to himself off the ceiling in order to dodge Atomic's early challenge. He did that, but he couldn't finish it. Now a dribble from his own back wall. Finds himself on what looks like the wrong side of the ball, but finds a way to get a shot out of it. Both these two are so creative in the air. This is a really fun matchup to watch. Chronic talking about being creative in the air. This one's a little bit more straightforward, but it's all you really need. The first touch is on target, and it happens fast. That forces Atomic to make this kind of retreating save where all his momentum is towards the net, and he's having to jump 180 and try and fight that momentum back to get a proper challenge, which results in a really unideal play on the ball. It may just seem like Atomic is, you know, fumbling in defense, and that's why Chronic's able to score on an otherwise simple dribble, but it's all about the timing, the pace that Chronic set that play up with that made it so hard. Atomic, a demo, and barring a great spawn from Chronic, Atomic took his time. I think he could have done that a bit faster, but he elected to go for the bounce dribble and boom it top right, which at the end of the day was a fine decision. No one's going to be able to spawn and save that good of a shot. Atomic, no boost left to work with. Tried to get a reset on the ball in order to make something happen as he landed down. Although he didn't quite do so, he actually did a great job. Followed up by getting his boost stolen and ultimately just passing the ball to Chronic. He felt like he had to make some play on the ball. If he froze back in the corner and just let the ball bounce, I mean, it's going to be almost as bad of a situation. Obviously, nothing's worse than passing the ball infield directly to the opponent, but the alternative of not making a play on the ball was not going to be great, which is why Atomic tried to make something happen. Atomic launching this out to the midfield. Actually was doing a decent job here at first of being where Chronic would want to be in order to get a nice long shot. Kind of forced Chronic off, but that strategy only worked for so long. Eventually he needed to make some kind of retreat back towards the ball. Atomic pre-flipping off his kickoff goal. He is staying within striking distance this time around. Such a... Chronic wanted to watch it again. To be fair, it's a pretty nice shot. When you're on the wrong side of the ball, it's not a problem when you're as smooth as Atomic. Easy pre-flip. Tap it in. Kickoff loss for Atomic. Forced into net without a pad to work with. You see him trying to decide if he can make it out to either pad, the pad in the midfield or be a far out pad to the right, but ultimately decides neither of them are really achievable, which means he has to try and defend on zero, and power shot bests him. So down 2 is Atomic with a kickoff loss, trying not to let Chronic have any sort of breathing room, and he gets punished for it. So it seems like he's just trying to work out what the right decision is on how to defend against Chronic. Obviously, it's usually a bad idea to leave him at the midfield with the ball. You with 100 boost, Chronic with 100 boost. He has already shown so far that he'll just beat you. Atomic tries to mix it up, see if you can stop Chronic from ever getting a clean possession, but doesn't seem to work either. So searching is Atomic to try and stop one of the best, if not the best in North America right now, and the reset shot makes it 6-2. Atomic kept it close for a bit, but no longer. And I tell you what, these online 1v1s, they're a return to what we love the most. Not everybody was playing their 1v1s like this. Whether it was because they were online or maybe also because they had so much weight behind them. Atomic launching this one high in the corner. Not able to chase Chronic down. Needs a goal right here. Going to go air dribble bump. Connects on it. I would say that possession right there was a must-win one for him if he wants to entertain the idea of coming back. Minute 30. Not only is it about reducing the lead to 3, it's about showing that you have some offense to be scared of in order to enable the comeback in the last minute. Atomic off the kickoff. Nothing to work with. Has to pin the ball to the back wall. He's going to pinch it away and look to pick up pads. We're going to see him play ball more often than not, I think. Recognized that Chronic was going to rush to boost. Elected to earn possession instead. Just a bit off on that angle. Pre-flip into the boost means a quick back the other way, and Chronic had actually pulled himself all the way out of position. Chronic was hoping to make a play on the ball and didn't expect this quick of a recovery by Atomic. And by the time he realized, wait, Atomic's going to be able to make a play on that ball quick, it was too late to turn around. Now 52 seconds. Atomic could really afford a solid kickoff win. Ball dashing up into this one. Wants a demo. That was the only way to try and make that work. Chronic throwing the long shot down the other way. Interesting pinch with the crossbar to get a strong clear. Atomic is reversing. He's in trouble. He just has to dive, I think. It's hard to say, but with 30 seconds down a couple goals, The reversing isn't going to cut it against the guy like Chronic. Have you ever thought about getting an overlay so we can see both players' boost level at all times? Well, let me reveal a secret to you. It's already there. It's just a little bit more compact. On top of the players' names, includes their boost totals. Atomic ready to go next. As he lets this one tap in. I'll end it for him. Game number 2. Going to Chronic as well. Proven to be untouchable in North American 1v1. Game number 3. Yeah, most overlays that add boost, they put 2 little bars, one on the left side, one on the right side, and they cover up more screen with them. For some reason, I don't like it. It looks like really clunky to me whenever I see it, and I feel like it's just covering valuable space. But I don't know, I really like the minimalistic look, as minimalistic as possible. The guy who made my overlay, had tons of options. Like I could have gone as insane as I wanted to, but I was like, I want it to be as compact and, I guess arguably boring as possible because I don't want to overdo it. So that's how we got the one we have now. Chronic, wow. Almost the tightest of angles, but Atomic able to stop it. Multiple resets for Chronic. Has Atomic reversing, which is always a bad sign, but Chronic misses off the post, and he's not going to be able to stay with this ball. It'll be an Atomic setup. Atomic going 50. Nice shots. There was a brief moment where Nupo was farming this exact shot. Get the reset or get the dribble and pull off of it and just set up for the 50. It can be fairly reliable done right. And like I said, Nupo for a while, I feel like when he was playing his best was just farming that over and over and over for goal after goal. Atomic's going to dabble in it as well to tie the game. Atomic's the kind of guy who maybe hasn't found himself in too many matches against this caliber of opponents, but certainly one that the more times he gets looks at all the best players, the more he's going to learn. For long, we'll see him staying in these games. Can he learn as quick as 2 games and convert it at the end of a reverse sweep? That's yet to be seen. Right now, tied 1-1 into the air dribble, pulling it off again for the 50. This time, a bit slower, a bit more controlled. Chronic doesn't have nearly as tough of a time controlling his save. Atomic booming this downfield. I think that's a good idea from him. A psycho attempt from Chronic. It's sent directly into the ceiling, and instead, it's a goal for Atomic. Now, this is the kind of stuff that we were just not seeing on LAN, I don't think. I love it. And I think it's almost necessary to play top tier 1s, but it's stuff that everyone was just too afraid to do. Like go for a psycho. Atomic's going to get a kickoff goal to make it 3-1. Atomic forcing the ball out past Chronic, getting himself demoed. Chronic to the skies, where he is known to farm so well, and he's going to continue to do so. Atomic hasn't had the answer. One of the ways he's tried to find the answer is to put a lot of pressure on balls, stop Chronic from ever being able to start. But when getting demoed, you have no choice. You have to just try and make a save, and the toughest guy to do it against. Chronic forcing one on target. It is just going to be an easy possession for Atomic. The ball falling slightly off the wall there. It looks like Atomic wanted to get a setup. Felt like there was no good way to do it. He tried to make the best of the poor positioning of the ball. Got nothing out of it. Strong side flip touch to start this dribble. One that might eat up a bit of his options, but it forces Chronic to defend quickly. That's the trade-off. Chronic shadowing in defense. If you can pop that ball directly to the back of the defender in the line of momentum they already have, and they cannot use any lateral movement to guide the ball away. That's when you're going to get the best follow-ups. Zap dash from Atomic, but actually bailed off of the benefit that it gave him. Chronic, so pure. Was allowed to get to his wall to air dribble. And it's in those moments that Chronic enters a Zen mode. And I don't mean that in the player's way. I mean that in the other meaning of the word Zen, where he seems to be completely comfortable. He'll take to the skies again, reset into a bump. Atomic able to force it using the crossbar out of the nets, and he'll get his counterattack. I think we would see cycles on a land in series, best of 1 or 2 high risk. I think that in general, as they're played more, I think we'd even see risks in best of 1s. Because I think the players who did the best, we're not playing them like, you know, they would die if they were to lose. Instead, they were playing them with confidence. Atomic falling way too far towards the midfield. I shouldn't say falling. He did jump himself to the midfield, but he felt forced to. Thought Chronic was taking that immediate shot. That wasn't Chronic's plan. Instead, floating around the ball for the ground pinch. So Atomic trying to keep Chronic at bay. That's not going to be a good position to do so. But he doesn't pick up the midfield. Chronic's just going to punish immediately. And it feels like when Atomic has the lead, there's a world in which he can hold on to it. But something about even a tie game in a match that has heavily favored Chronic. Feels like Atomic's in trouble. With a minute left to go, he has a kickoff win. He's going to do what we saw him do before. Prioritize playing at speed. And use that to try and get a mistake out of Chronic in defense. Chronic with the near shadow, reverse challenge. Atomic to the skies. Chronic pre-jumping. Atomic tried to go over the top of him. That doesn't work. Chronic lands and is able to get the shot and the lead. Atomic deciding that his best chance was to bump Chronic here. As Chronic landed back down, and he was probably right. I don't think he's making a play on that ball. Maybe there's a world in which you could try and cut off the angle of the shot, but it is going to be Chronic up 6-5. 25 seconds left to go. Atomic was looking to be perfect. This was a very solid opportunity considering the situation. Chronic should not have allowed Atomic that long shot. But with 10 seconds left to go, and Old Reliable in his back pocket, it'll be a 2-goal lead. And a Chronic 3-0 sweep. Hey, Atomic was playing too well. He was winning all of his previous matches, not only, you know, winning the series, but also sweeping. Although, to be fair, against Lion Blaze, every game was very close. But they were all in favor of Atomic. Chronic's going to welcome him to the 1 scene with a nice 3-0 sweep himself.